Is my story real? We all live inside a story about who we are, what we have been through, and where life is going. This story feels personal. It feels continuous, as if it defines who we are. But if we look closely, this story appears as thought, remembered, repeated, explained. So the question is simple. Right now, in this moment, is this story actually real? This is not a question about the past or about what should happen next. It is a question for this moment. Before any explanation appears, before the story is believed, before it is taken personally. Just for a moment, we pause and look. The story we call me. When we say me, we are usually pointing to a story made of memories, thoughts, emotions, and explanations. This story has a past. It imagines a future. It connects events and meanings. It tells us what happened, why it happened, and what it says about us. This story feels personal. It feels familiar. It feels like who we are. We rarely question this story. We live as if it is true. But look closely, right now, not in memory, not in imagination. What is actually here? Are you experiencing a story? Or are you experiencing sensations? Sounds, sensations, thoughts appearing, feelings arising. The story speaks through thought. This happened to me. This should not have happened. This means something about who I am. Thought connects moments, labels experience, and creates continuity. But without thought, there is seeing, there is hearing, there is sensing. Experience is happening. Life is happening. But where is the story? Is the story here now? Or does it appear only when it is being thought? How thought builds the story. Thought does not appear as a story at first. It appears as a small movement, a word, an image, a memory. Nothing special at first, just a thought appearing. Then another thought follows, and another. These thoughts begin to connect. They form a sequence. That sequence slowly becomes a story. Thought looks back. It explains what happened. It looks forward and imagines what might happen. In this way, thought gives experience a timeline. This happened because of me. This should not have happened. This means something about who I am. Meaning is added. Judgment appears. Responsibility is assumed. Over time, this story becomes familiar. It feels stable. It feels like a continuous identity. We rarely notice this process because it happens automatically. The story runs in the background, guiding reactions, guiding choices. But look carefully. Right now, thought only appears now. A thought comes, and it goes. The past appears as memory. The future appears as imagination. The story seems to stretch across time, but it is never actually there all at once. It is assembled, moment by moment, one thought at a time. So the story is not something continuously happening. It is something continuously recreated, right now. Looking at what is here now, the story feels continuous, as if it has always been there. But the story is never found in experience itself. It only appears as thought. So instead of following the story, look at what is here now, right now. What is actually present? There may be sound, sensation, movement, breathing. All of this is immediate. It needs no explanation. Thought may also appear, but it appears as one experience among others. Notice that thoughts come and go. They do not stay. They do not remain. The same is true for sensations and for feelings, pleasant or unpleasant, strong or subtle. They all pass. Everything that appears eventually disappears, but something remains, not as an object, not as something you can point to. It is not a thought, not a feeling, not a sensation. What remains is the simple fact of being aware, aware of sound, aware of sensation, aware of thought. This awareness does not come and go. It does not change with experience, whether the story is active or completely quiet. This awareness remains. It is here before the story appears, and it remains when the story fades. What remains is the real me when the story falls silent. Nothing essential disappears. Life continues. Breathing happens. Seeing happens. The body is here. The world is here. Nothing needs to be added. Nothing needs to be removed. What disappears is only the story, the commentary, the narration of me. This narration once felt central. It seemed to define everything. But when it is not being told, it has no weight. What remains is not an idea, not a belief, not a description. It is not something you can think about, nor something you can remember. It is what is here before any story begins. And what remains when the story ends, this presence does not need to prove itself. It does not seek confirmation. It does not claim an identity. It is simply here. Quiet, open, aware, aware of sound, aware of sensation, aware of thought when it appears. And still here, when thought fades, nothing personal needs to remain. Yet something undeniable remains. Perhaps this is what we truly mean by I. Not the story we tell, not the image we protect, but what remains when the story is not being told. The question is not whether your story is good or bad. It is not about fixing the story or improving the character. The question is simpler than that. When the story is quiet, what remains? Right now, without referring to memory, without imagining the future, what is here? There is no need to rush, no need to reach a conclusion. Nothing needs to be held on to, and nothing needs to be pushed away. Perhaps nothing needs to be answered. Perhaps nothing needs to be understood. Just notice what remains when the story is not being told. And notice this too. Whatever remains is already here. Nothing new needs to appear. Nothing old needs to disappear. This moment is enough, just as it is. Let's expand the horizon of consciousness with Truth Inquiry. Your subscription and support mean a great deal. Thank you.